Hello, welcome to the Analyst Inside Cricket. Looking back at the fourth day's play here at Old Trafford with me, Simon Hughes.
And I'm Deep Dasgupta.
Deep, thank you very much for joining us again. And actually, you'll be happy because at the start of the day, England were really in charge and they extended that power to eventually scoring 669 all out with a lead of 311. So those of you who might have bet yesterday on Betfair 5-2 for England to win by an innings would have been quite confident. But then India fought back after those two early losses, 2 wickets to Chris Woakes in the first over, and we thought, oh yeah, innings victory today. No, nothing doing. 174 for 2 India at the end of the day. You must be happy.
I am happier, not completely happy because a lot of stuff needs to be done as far as India is concerned. But this has been that kind of a series where you actually don't bet with the odds, but you bet against the odds. Because every time you think one team is ahead, but the other teams come back, and that's been the story of this series. So yeah, not surprised, but yeah, very heartening to see the character, the resilience that the Indian team has shown so far.
Yeah, and they're now only 130 or so behind. Yeah. Although the odds saying actually the draws come back as the favourite, 8-13 the draw now. So, yeah, interesting. I mean, the weather forecast tomorrow, lovely night tonight here in Manchester, but tomorrow a little bit of rain around, so maybe India will only have to bat for perhaps 5 hours or sort of, 70 overs or something like that. Will Rishabh Pant bat, do you think? I guess if needed? If needed.
So, if it's something like a session or a couple of hours you need to bat out or something on those lines, then I think he will. But if it's more than that, then, yeah, maybe a question mark there.
Talking point today, a couple of things. Ben Stokes, so of course he got to his 100 in the end. He made 141 in fact in the end, and he became only the 4th England all-rounder to make 100 and take 5 wickets in the same test match, along with Tony Greig, who I got to know a little bit. I don't know if you ever worked with Tony Greig on commentary, did you?
I have, yeah. It's been, it was a pleasure actually to sit beside him in a comm box. It was absolutely brilliant.
And I saw him bowl a fair bit. He's a bit past my time, before my time cricket-wise, but actually I had Tony Greig's Test Cricket book, how to play Test Cricket when I was a kid, and I liked to look at that. It was a very tall player. Of course, he took Australia on in the famous 74-75 Ashes series. There's a film we made, a few films actually, about that series on our podcast platform, the 74-5 Ashes. We called that Headhunters with Lillian Thompson, and he took them on, and he bowled good fast medium, and he could turn to spin as well. And then the other man, the other notorious man who's made 105 wickets in the same test match for England, of course, is Ian Botham. Done it 5 times. And the thing about Beefy was he was never beaten. You know, he always knew that he could do it. And I played with him for 2 years at Durham, and he was just someone who said, we can win this from any position. It doesn't matter how bad it is. We can win it. I'll win it for you. And occasionally, even in his last year as a cricketer, he won games with a brilliant run out, an amazing catch, a ball or something. So he had that winning spirit and obviously all-round ability. And even when he bowled slow medium at the end of his career, he still made the ball do something. And of course 383 test wickets. Stokes is now on 229 test wickets, so he's level with Gough and more than Flintoff and Harmison, just shy of Garfield Sober's 235 test wickets, but also Stokes today passed 7,000 test runs, which I mean is a measure of his batting ability, isn't it?
Absolutely, 7,000 runs, 200 plus wickets. So he's in a very exclusive group of all-rounders there as well. Jack Callis and Gary Sobers, and now he's only the 3rd person to do that. Add another 100 catches there as well.
Wow, it's amazing. I sort of debated. I wrote a piece for the Sunday Times today actually, and I sort of semi-debated whether Stokes was the most complete cricketer ever, given his batting, his bowling, his captaincy, his sort of warrior-like spirit. There's a bit of a debate in the press box actually. Obviously Sobers being one who could bowl spin as well as seam and had a batting average of 57, and the other one Imran Khan. Imran Khan, a leader and a great batsman and bowler.
Well, let me add another name, Kapil Dev.
Please do.
Yes. Kapil Dev, fielder, obviously an all-rounder, led India to the 83 World Cup victory, changed Indian cricket to a great extent because Indian cricket wasn't the same post-83 World Cup win. Again, a fighter and all. But yeah, let's talk about Ben Stokes here, and definitely when you're talking about a complete player, I'm sure in that conversation his name will appear.
There's a little graphic I'll put up on our video actually that Sky did today, looking at Stokes, his bowling action. I don't know if you saw it. It was actually in the tea interval, and it showed that his bowling before 2019, he had a braced front knee, and you'll see it on this three-way split actually on the graphic if you're watching on video. His braced front knee on the before 2019. Then when gradually his knee injuries started to come through, he started bending his front knee, and actually his action sort of sagged a bit, and I think he lost a bit of momentum. But now with this knee operation he's had and all his rehab, he's got a braced front knee again, and he's bowling. I can see he's sort of bowling over the top of it, and he's bowling beautifully, isn't he? He's bowling with those sort of late out swing, good pace, 85, 86, quicker than he's bowled for sort of a few years. I spoke to Tim Southey, the England bowling coach, of course New Zealander, this morning about Stokes' bowling, and just said, what have we done? What have we done that's different? And he just said, look, this guy has got this ability to make things happen when no one else can.
Yeah, that's so true. And again, for me, I think it's cricketing IQ that is so important. We don't speak enough about cricketing IQs. We talk about scales, whether he's got the outswing, in-swing, cover drive and all of that. But end of the day, it's about how to execute those plans, whether we've got the plans right or not. And that's where I think Ben Stokes is right up there. We keep talking about, I personally keep talking about Bumrah. A lot of people talk about just his action and everything else. But the smartness, the cricket smartness, there's one thing you having the skill set, but the other is executing that and at the right moment. And I think that's exactly what Ben Stokes got as well.
So he went on to 140 in the end. He started to cut loose towards the end of his innings when he was in partnership with the tail. England got 669. They batted for nearly 160 overs, and I think, in a way, that was why India lost 2 early wickets, more than the fact that the ball did a lot. It was, Wokes was on the spot, but it was more just probably fatigue. Can you kind of just give a sense of what it's like to bat, to open the batting when you fielded for that length of time?
I've done it a few times after keeping for 100 plus overs and then going into open an innings. And the first thing is the physical part of it, where your legs feel heavy, you aren't moving as quickly as you would like to, you're kind of stuttering a little bit. And then the other is the mental side of it, because you're mentally kind of exhausted, because as a keeper, like a captain, you're thinking all the time, you're helping the captain out, even if you're not, looking after the field, checking out the angles and everything else, and then straight away from there. So one is the physical side of it, which if you're fit enough is all right, you can still manage that. But the mental fatigue, in terms of you still kind of got to think at the same level and intensity wise, that can be quite a task.
And Jaiswal has faded a bit in this series. Yashasvi Jaiswal was out third or fourth ball today. Didn't get many in the first innings either. It's too early to say is his sort of bubble burst, I suppose. But it's Steve Smith has sort of early successes in series and then gradually fades. Can you? Has he just been unlucky or attracted? I suppose as an opening bat, you attract good balls at times, don't you?
That's true, but he did get a half century in the first innings, did he not? I think he got a half century in the first innings. But I understand what you're saying. Rahul used to have that issue. He would start off the series really well. First 2 test matches would do well, and then would taper in terms of his performances. But one thing is obviously the opposition get to know you better, have picked up a few things. As a player, you might not have enough time to kind of change it or refine it. So that could be one of the things. It can get into your head at times if you're getting out to a certain way. For example, today was a great example. Shubman Gill got out leg before last couple of innings. But then it was really good on him and very smart of him to make a couple of adjustments quickly, because knowing the fact that, again, that's where the English bowlers are going to target. So those things, if you're smart enough, are you switched on enough to pick those things up and then make those adjustments while the series is on?
So for today's Betfair exchange, we're going to talk about the art of spin. We saw quite a bit of spin this afternoon. Actually, we've seen some in the whole match. We've seen Jadeja bowling a lot of overs. We've seen Sundar Washington as well, or even Washington Sundar. I always get his name round the wrong way. I don't know why. But anyway, we saw them both bowl, and we saw Liam Dawson this afternoon. And it felt like an opportunity for spin bowlers to perhaps throw it up and toss it up a bit. But we've got 3 spinners that are mainly bowling what I would call darts, fairly quick into the pitch, trying to get a bit of low bounce and maybe a bit of turn, but know what Phil Tufnell loves to call F&G, flight and guile, which he was actually very good at. Tossing it up in the air, enticing the batsman to attack, come down the wicket, come down the wicket or whatever. Have we lost a bit of that, do you think?
Yes.
Are bowlers a bit more intent on firing it in and not giving away runs?
Definitely, no two ways about it. Couple of things. One is obviously the amount of white ball cricket that the players are playing, and obviously how lucrative white ball cricket is. You know, everyone wants to play T20 cricket, everyone wants to play franchise cricket, so you kind of mold your game around that. That's one. The other thing is growing up as well. I mean, I'm sure your generation, our generation, we were growing up playing a lot of red ball cricket, days cricket, where the idea was the spinner to get people out, short leg, silly point, caught behind and stuff like that. But those things have changed now. It's all about, you're growing up, you're playing so much of T20 cricket. That's one thing. The other thing, for me, I think, for a spinner to bowl F&G, you've got to have a good captain. Because especially with batters who are stepping out, are more aggressive now, if a batter hits you for 2 boundaries, you want the captain to come and say, you know what, that's all right, Simon, that's fine. No, don't worry about it. But most of the captains you see now, you get hit for 2 boundaries, you're not bowling the next over. So as a bowler also, you're forced to bowl flat and bowl those darts, because for me, a good captain is so important in general for the bowlers, but especially for spinners.
I think it was something that Shane Warne always used to say, actually, and advice he gave to young spinners was try and bowl a maiden over to start with, because otherwise your captain's going to take you off.
Exactly.
You've gone for 10. But I suppose, to be sympathetic to the bowlers for a moment, if you do toss it up, and you see this in one-day cricket, white ball cricket, if they toss it up, they get flogged into the stand. I mean, Adil Rashid, is a master of one-day cricket, but he very rarely tosses it up, and when he does, he gets neck ache, sort of staring at it flying over his head. So, is it hard for spinners to risk that?
It is definitely hard. There's no two ways about it. Again, it's not, you're not going to change overnight when you start playing at the international level. How you taught the game in your formative years is very important, and that's where you need a good coach and good captain, people who would encourage you to do that, encourage you to get people out or get batters out, silly point, short leg, and not long on, long off. So I think those years are very important. It's very difficult if you've learned your cricket that way, and you need to change it when you come at this level. That's not going to happen. So it's important to have those kind of people, especially coaches, who would encourage the spinners to get people out close to the bat and not long on, long off.
So there's an appeal to captains out there to be more tolerant, be more sympathetic, encourage young spinners. Don't worry if they get hit for 10, because maybe the next over they'll get a wicket. Certainly one of your colleagues at the BBC, Nick Miller, he said to me today, surely Shoaib Bashir would have tossed one up. He might have gone for 5 and over today, but he might have got a wicket. I thought Liam Dawson did quite well actually today. I mean, tough returning to Test cricket after a long absence, and he was steady. He bowled a bit short to start with, but then he found a good length. He probed away. He didn't really toss it up. But perhaps that's not really his game. I've seen him bowl a lot actually, and he does tend to bowl, into the pitch a bit darty. But I thought he did okay actually today. I mean, what did you think?
So. I thought as well. I mean, one obviously is what you want is some control from your spinner. So consistency, which he's got. He's a very steady bowler, like you said. Only thing is, I've seen him do the defensive job very well in the first innings and the second innings. Now, can he do that attacking bit now? Can he, like you said, be a little more adventurous and flight the ball, because there's enough runs to play with, right? So he can actually do that. And if you just look back, Jadeja's wickets, especially the Joe Root wicket, he bowled slower in the air, and that's when he got purchase off the pitch. So there is something in this pitch for the spinners if you're bowling slower. But the thing is, one, can you do that as a skill set? Secondly, do you have the heart? Even if you get hit for a boundary or 2, would you still do it? I know Ben Stokes as a captain wouldn't have a problem. He would encourage. I don't think as a leader, as a captain, he would have it. But as a bowler, are you adventurous enough to try that?
the pitch didn't do quite as much as we thought after those 2 early wickets for Chris Wokes. A bit of uneven bounce, brave batting by both Gill and by Rahul. I thought that they withstood the attack well, and Gill, particularly Rahul, had a few blows to his hands. I mean, one disadvantage for England, and one slight concern: no bowling from Ben Stokes, who didn't look entirely. I mean, he did do some warm-up bowling today, this morning, after yesterday retiring hurt with cramp and then coming back into bat. So he didn't seem to hamper him with the bat, but he didn't risk himself today with the ball. And I just noticed him in the field there, sort of holding the back of his leg a little bit. So I doubt whether we'll see him bowl tomorrow. But hopefully the massers will do their bit.
But if he doesn't, that's advantage India.
Yes.
Because with the new ball, or rather with the older ball, he's been the bowler to watch out for. He's. I mean, I'm sure we all say this over and over again, the fact that he gets things done, he makes it happen. But for me, I think, like I said, that IQ, that cricketing IQ of knowing what to do, when to do, he always keeps changing things, moves from plan A to plan B, so he keeps the batters on their toes. So suddenly you see a field change and then you're thinking, why has he changed that field? And then a couple of deliveries, he'll change it again, and you're like, okay, now why has he done that? Because as a batter, you're reading those things, you're reading the field, and you're saying, okay, the bowler is trying to bowl this now. He's so good, and okay, as a captain, you can do that for the others, but as a bowler, you can actually do that and bowl what you want to.
Yeah.
And he's got that control and, as I said, the cricketing knowledge or IQ to actually make things happen. So if he's not available, that's...
No, you're right. I mean, he's got what I would call a golden arm, a bit like Botham had. I mean, even more than Botham had a golden arm. He would bowl, sometimes, a terrible long op, and someone would chop it on. In fact, his first Test wicket was a long op to Greg Chappell, and he dragged it onto his stumps. And he took 382 more wickets, some with absolutely fantastic deliveries, but quite a few with ordinary deliveries. And whenever he played against Australia, especially, the opposition, Aussies, were just like, what's he going to do now? What's he going to come up with next? Oh no, we've lost another wicket to Beefy. And Stokes is a bit like that. He's probably more consistent as a bowler, and actually not quite as skillful. I mean, Botham swung the ball both ways, but he's emerging now. To me, Stokes is almost the equal of Botham as a cricketer, and he will probably go on to be greater than Botham as a cricketer if he can stay fit for the next year or two. Just to finish, I mean, fantastic batting by the Indians in the latter part of the day. No wickets lost after lunch, 2 sessions. Yeah. Can they survive and take it to the Oval still 2-1 down?
Oh, that'd be a very, very big achievement if they manage to do that. And they're on their way, to be fair. 2 sessions without losing a wicket. But on this pitch, you said it hasn't misbehaved as much. But I tell you what, you got to give a lot of credit to these 2 batters. Once you're set, no matter how much the pitch misbehaves, you set and you can handle it. Because the one important thing is this pitch doesn't have that kind of pace. So whatever happens doesn't happen very quickly. So that's one advantage. So if you're set as a batter, it looks easier than what it actually is. So the important bit is when India lose a wicket, what happens then? That's one. India's got a lot of left-handers. Jofra Archer bowls really well to the left-handers. So that's the other problem. Left-handers for Liam Dawson, suddenly that rough outside the left-handers off stump, that comes into play. So I think there are a lot of variables. But if India managed to go to Oval with 2-1 scoreline, this same scoreline, that's a huge achievement. And Shubman Gill, a lot of credit to him, what he's achieved or what he's doing right now as a young player and a young captain, commendable.
And actually, as you said the other night, the effort of Pant to come out and bat with a broken foot is being translated to the rest of the team, and there's a real determination there throughout the side. So the odds for Betfair, 8-13 the draw is the favourite, interestingly, and 13-10 the England win. I'm afraid no % for India to win, so that's
I'm not going to hold that against them.
So you can't win the series, it looks like, but you could at least draw this match and draw the series if you win at the Oval. So that's it. Deep, thanks for your time. Don't forget, if you want to bet, you've got to be 18 or over, and please gamble responsibly. And also look out for our special podcast series about the classic The classic 2005 Ashes here 20 years ago, that amazing test match here, the third test of that series, which was also drawn. That is on the Crickverse, my blog Substack site, the Crickverse. So look out for that, the 2005 Ashes special 6-part series, and we'll be back tomorrow to review the final day's play.